people are always telling you, and sometimes it's other women who are telling you can't do it. And just listen to yourself.
Winning is everything in sport. I was watching a tennis star say this, that it's really hard to be a sports person because one person wins and everyone else fails.
Yeah. We have to deal with loss so often that at some point you realize, to hell with this. I'm doing this because I love the sport. You love the thrill of competing, but then you're losing so often, like you said, you just deal with it. So now I have no fear of failure. I don't have fear of what if. So the fear of consequence, the fear of the unknown is not there for athletes. So that's why I think we make such good entrepreneurs. We can just throw ourselves, headfirst into something that everybody wouldn't even dream of you doing. Like starting a swimming academy as a woman. A lot of people said, why don't you take the safe, public sector job or join one of Indian Oil? They're giving jobs to sports people. I said, how boring would that be, sitting behind a desk, doing something, working for somebody else who I don't feel, excited about. So I took, jumped headfirst into, starting my own academy, which is something no one expected. And then it paid off for me. So you have to take those risks.
Yeah, but not everyone has, to use some of these words that I'm just going to now obviously create in the deep end. Essentially, it's about your spirit and your ability to not just take a risk, but also say that I will break these rules along the journey because this is what everyone expects.
Yeah,
I'm not going to walk that path.
Exactly. And I think it started with my dad. Funnily enough, he always wanted to raise two strong girls. He's not the type who said, oh, I wish I had a boy. He was like, I'm going to make these girls the most fierce girls. So he reminds me a lot of, King Richard, like the Williams sisters, their dad, and he would always say, when you're competing, to hell with it, just don't worry about how old somebody is, if they're male or female, just go for it, do your best. So it started at that young age where I felt like I could do anything. So even when people told me I couldn't, my grandmom used to say, don't swim, you'll get tanned. Who will marry you? Can you marry from your own grandmom? And as a young kid, it affects you. And I used to be like, now looking back, I'm married to this wonderful guy. He's fair as ever. I'm tanned as ever. Nobody cares, So I think along the way, you have to realize some point to listen to your own voice and stop listening to the others. And also surround yourself with other people who support you, not just women, but men also. So I was lucky to have these people.
So what all were you stopped for? So one, the grandmother story.
Yes.
Second, the entrepreneur story. List them all out for me.
Yeah, I think everything from even traveling alone at nights, people be like so worried. I'm so independent. I've lived in foreign countries when I was 17, 18. I would just stick my key ring through my fingers and God help anybody who came near me. Like I would give a fight, I would really fight. So my point is, nobody stopped me from doing what I wanted. And even when we talk about sacrifices, right? At the end of the day, they're actually choices. So I didn't miss out on those birthday parties and those, alcohol-fueled, parties of the teenage years. I chose to do something and I went full-fledged, and the few times that, when you finish something, you've achieved a dream, then I would just let go and go crazy. So there have been a few of those wild parties after I've done my swim meets. And then you're like, okay, I'm done. Now I can be this teenager who's, head banging to some rock music and listening to, some crazy music, dancing and just letting go. But till then, I was very, very focused. So I think we have dealt with politicians in India. Sports and politics is so hand in hand. So I've been told by the top federations in India saying, if you go and speak against the federation, that'll be the last swim meet that you ever do. And I've, in classic style, I've gone and said whatever I want to say with the press. That's why it's called the freedom of the press, right? I would go and say it and then I'd win by so much that they can't disqualify me. They can't put somebody else in the team ahead of me. So at some point, they just gave up on me. And I started my business and I have nothing to do with the federations, to show you that I can make my way. I don't need funding. I don't need the backing of a federation. I can do it on my own because I love what I'm doing. And I don't care, whether other academies get preference. We'll just do it on our own. So I think for women especially, there's this, people go on about you can't, So nowadays you see some real tough women football players. You see women like, we have a woman president. My God, anything is possible. At the same time, people are always telling you, and sometimes it's other women who are telling you can't do it. And just listen to yourself.